This is a Prophet 10. This is 2 Prophet 5, Rev 3 Prophet 5s stacked. In fact, if you open the lid, as we're about to do, that is the Prophet 5 voice board. I mean, lift that out, stick it in a Prophet 5, and it fires right up, and vice versa. And there's another one just like it up underneath. And then you've got a big old honking power supply down here. Uh-oh, what am I doing? I'm blowing stuff up. Computer board, you know, cassette interface, all that fun stuff. Actually, no, computer board, sorry. That's the cassette interface board, and the sequencer. But this is all, it's the same DAC that's used in the Prophet 5. It's a lot of the same stuff. To this thing they had to have a way to combine both boards into one happy thing, so they added this this extra analog output board, and in it they also designed a very rudimentary 3-band EQ, which is really kind of useless. And they also put like super duper not great quality op amps in there. And actually I did a big long shootout last year. I went through and recapped this board, and while I had it out, I went through and got online to some fellow synth nerds and said, hey, I'm thinking about swapping out all the op amps on this thing, because I can imagine that with, you know, 10 extra op amps in the circuit between the output of that thing and the output of the machine, there might be some junk going on in here, which to me, I thought, would explain why people don't like the sound of the Prophet 10 as much as they do the 5s. Anyone will tell you a Prophet 10 is not 2 Prophet 5s. Even though it is, it's not. And my suspicion, which I think I confirmed, was that by replacing these with modern op amps, we've got much higher bandwidth, much greater slew rate, much, you know, stuff I didn't dream of in 1980, right? For reasonable money. That we were able to go through and basically make that part of the circuit disappear. And it kind of opened it up. It turned it back into 2 Prophet 5s.
Back into 2 Prophet 5, right.
Which is what makes, you know, I mean, Prophet 5 is a glorious machine.
Right.
Just got a little bit of reverb on in there. That's what you're hearing. There's no reverb built into it. So it's cool. You can either treat it as 2 totally separate machines. You know, 2 5-voice machines like that. Oh, let's make it. And then like, right?
Okay.
Or you've got these various assignment modes where you can stack them, or you can alternate if you want to force it to be in stereo. Yeah. Right?
What?
Or single mode where it just sort of assigns them willy-nilly. And then of course, but yeah, you get to the programmer from each, you know, you got your upper panel and your lower panel. It's the same set of knobs for both of them. And of course the knobs don't move or anything, so you kind of have to remember what you're doing.
Right.
But one thing that this added 4 years later, now that we're under computer control, is bang, auto-tune. Because you couldn't possibly keep 10 voices, 2 oscillators per voice in tune long enough to actually make any music for it at this point.
Right.
So they... So I can do that. I can do... Right there, I beat the 5-voice limit of a Prophet 5. Right? Right? You know, course, I'm clipping the heck out of my.
So you're right in saying you can rob voices from the top manual and play them down here.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. As long as you've got you have to manually tell it that you want the same sound. It's not smart enough to dynamically allocate them.
Okay.
Between the two, it'll dynamically allocate on one board or the other board.
Okay.
But it can't just dynamically steal.
Right.
Like on say like on the Matrix 12, which came later.
Right.
We got 12 voices. You can set up a split, and you can say, "Oh, I just need to yank voices, however," and it's fast enough to sit there and basically reprogram a voice on the fly.
Right.
This couldn't do that. This couldn't do that.
And
Not yet. Not yet.
And it has how many? What's the memory capacity? The presets it has.
It is whatever 4 times 8 is 32 for each upper and the lower.
Okay.
And they are separate for each keyboard. Like if I want this polysynth on the bottom, I manually have to save it to the bottom.
So it's taking up 2
right
memory spots. Okay.
Right. Now check this EQ out. This is just useless. Low end. Let's just make it. Let's just do. Maybe it's a little boom, right?
Right.
There's a little of that, right? High end, maybe. Hardly does anything up there.
Right.
It's like, guys,
you can do better than that.
Better than that. One fun thing about it is they did give you a detune, and again, you can only detune sharp.
Okay.
But if you want to stack them and do like ridiculous string pads or something like, let's do it in double, right? So that's upper and lower on top of each other with just upper detuned.
Right.
So now I've got, say, you're hearing the LFO. But if I wanted just old-fashioned detune one side, and that's still just one oscillator on each one. When I go to detune the rest of it, now I can get really like. So it's got some options for making the thing huge. Little historical note, the Genesis organ sound, Tony Banks organ sound, all through 79 to like 81, 82, basically through like the Shapes record, was this thing through a Phase 100.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Like to sit it right, sit it right up there.
Was this the thing he used for the Abacab open fifths, or was that a quadra?
You can play it on one keyboard, but it makes a lot more sense to go.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
Why not? If you got 2 of the same things sitting there. But yeah, this is that. I think he seems like I read an interview with him saying that it was the nice thing about the Prophet is having the 2 manuals led you to do some voicing things that you normally couldn't or wouldn't do on one keyboard because you'd be on top of.
Who else used it? I don't even know who else used it.
I want to say Gabriel.
Okay.
Which would make sense.
Right.
I don't remember. Break My Stride. Matthew Wilder, right? He was like the poster boy for Prophet stuff. I remember getting that album in whenever, 82, when you still looked at the back of the album for credits, right? And I look at this thing, and I'm like, and I see like Prophet 5, Prophet 8, Prophet 10, Prophet 600, and I'm like, dude totally got the hookup from sequential, But I think he one hit wonder, but he's the other name that comes to mind.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is, I've heard different numbers. From what I understand, there were only 500 of these to start with, and I know that there are less than that now.
Wow.
So it's a pretty rare piece if you're into that sort of thing.